vision, a better world shall emerge out of the blood and carnage of the past.
World War II ended decades ago, but incredible secrets are still being uncovered today. Hidden bunkers, priceless treasures, and mysterious wrecks lay buried beneath decades of dust and debris, only recently uncovered by astonished historians.
U.S. soldiers come into this room and they discover 8,198 of these gold bars.
In this video, we uncover 20 of the most astonishing finds from World War II. Remarkable finds that changed the course of history. 20. Bell P-39, Era Cobra. In Russia's remote Murmansk region, a hidden graveyard of World War II aircraft lies beneath frozen lakes and dense forests, regularly yielding astonishing discoveries decades after battles ended. On November 1944, Soviet Lieutenant Ivan Baranovsky piloted a Bell P-39 Era Cobra, an American fighter delivered to the USSR under the Lend-Lease program. For unknown reasons, Baranovsky landed abruptly on the ice-covered Mart Yavor Lake, never returning to base. Nearly 60 years later, in July 2004, a fisherman spotted part of the plane's tail emerging from the lake. Authorities soon retrieved the remarkably intact wreck, discovering Baranovsky's remains alongside a maintenance log still preserved in the cockpit. After receiving proper honors, Baranovsky was laid to rest in Murmansk's Alley of Glory. The restored aircraft journeyed across continents, from Russia to Jim Pierce's restoration workshop in West Sussex, England, before reaching its current home at the Niagara Aerospace Museum in Buffalo, New York. 19. The Bismarck under the Atlantic. Deep beneath the rolling waves of the North Atlantic lies the wreck of the Bismarck, one of Germany's most formidable World War II battleships. Launched in 1939 and named for Otto von Bismarck, this steel juggernaut boasted thick armor and massive guns designed to disrupt Allied shipping routes. Its short but tumultuous career reached a crescendo in May 1941 during an engagement with British forces that led to the catastrophic sinking of HMS Hood. Though the Bismarck briefly escaped, Royal Navy aircraft soon crippled its steering, sealing its doom. Cornered and pummeled by British battleships, the Bismarck sank on May 27, 1941. Out of over 2,200 crew, only 114 survived the onslaught. Yet the vessel's story wasn't done. For decades, the exact location of this giant remained elusive. Then, in 1989, oceanographer Robert Ballard, famous for locating the Titanic, found the wreck resting about 15,000 feet below the ocean surface. Images of the sunken Bismarck revealed its hull largely intact, stirring excitement among historians. This once mighty terror of the seas had become one of the most amazing discoveries of submerged World War II artifacts. It remains a symbol of the deadly battles waged at sea, beckoning researchers to unlock more secrets lurking in its shadowed corridors. 18. The sunken Leviathan, Musashi. In the Pacific theater, few warships match the colossal might of the Japanese battleship Musashi. Commissioned in 1942, it was part of the Yamato class, among the largest and heaviest battleships ever constructed. Armed with 9 18.1-inch main guns, Musashi seemed almost unstoppable. However, in October 1944, during the Battle of Leyte Gulf, American aircraft launched a relentless aerial assault that would finally overpower this behemoth. Nearly 1,000 of its 2,399 crew were lost as the vessel slipped beneath the Siboyan Sea. For over 7 decades, the exact resting place of Musashi eluded discovery. That changed in 2015, when Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen financed an advanced underwater expedition. Drawing on historical records from multiple nations and employing cutting-edge sonar systems, his team zeroed in on a site over 3,000 feet below the surface. Video footage revealed the shattered remains of the once mighty ship, its massive turrets and twisted hull echoing a distant era of naval warfare. The find resonated with maritime historians and families of the fallen alike. It underscored the destructive power unleashed at sea during World War II and added another chapter to the list of amazing discoveries tied to that conflict. 17. The hidden Nazi wall stash. Sometimes, World War II artifacts emerge where you'd least expect them, like inside a suburban wall. In 2021, flooding in Hagen, Germany led a homeowner to remove ruined plasterboard, only to discover a concealed compartment brimming with wartime relics. Inside were documents, gas masks, Nazi badges, a vintage revolver, brass knuckles, and even a faded newspaper from 1945. Curiously, a portrait of Adolf Hitler rested alongside these items, hinting at the beliefs of whoever had hidden them. Investigators soon found that the house once served as a local base for the National Socialist People's Welfare Organization. As Allied forces advanced late in the war, many Germans stashed sensitive materials to dodge scrutiny. It's rare, however, to uncover such a well-preserved assemblage. Each artifact offers a glimpse into the ideological apparatus that shaped Nazi Germany, from propaganda tools to everyday objects. Local historians took an interest in the stash, hoping it might clarify the extent of local Nazi activities. To protect privacy and ensure no exploitation, authorities have kept detailed information under wraps. But the find quickly circulated among experts, becoming one of those amazing discoveries that reveal how layers of history can linger right beneath our feet. 16. The Panther tank in the basement. In 2015, authorities in the quiet German town of Heikendorf made a jaw-dropping discovery beneath an elderly resident's home. Hidden in the cellar was a fully operational Panther tank from World War II, alongside an anti-aircraft gun and even a torpedo. Neighbors had long whispered rumors of what was lurking under the property, but few believed a working tank could actually be tucked away down there. Extracting the armored giant proved an extraordinary challenge. Soldiers spent 9 hours maneuvering the 45-ton behemoth onto a flatbed. Its treads had been removed, possibly to make it fit through the basement's entrance. Once out in the open, the Panther drew crowds of onlookers, stunned to see such a formidable war machine hiding in a residential neighborhood. Legal complications soon followed. The elderly owner was fined hundreds of thousands of euros and given a suspended sentence for violating Germany's strict arms control laws. Yet historians were intrigued by the tank's condition, noting how it could potentially be restored and displayed in a museum. This bizarre situation emphasizes how some of the most amazing discoveries from the World War II era aren't always found on distant battlefields. Sometimes, they've been lurking under everyday life all along. 15. Hitler's last refuge, the Führer bunker. Beneath the heart of Berlin lies the remains of Hitler's Führer bunker, an underground compound begun in 1936 and expanded during World War II. It became the final command center for the Nazi leader as Soviet forces closed in on the city in April 1945. Within these concrete walls, protected by layers of reinforced steel and earth, Hitler held frantic meetings, ranted about shifting fortunes, and ultimately ended his life alongside Eva Braun. After the war, the Soviets discovered the bunker but kept many details secret, fueling decades of speculation. East German authorities later tried to demolish the site, only to find its reinforced structure too robust to erase completely. What remained was largely forgotten, hidden beneath urban development. It wasn't until the 1980s that more extensive excavations began. Historians sifted through debris and recovered scattered personal belongings, official documents, and even signage from the bunker's corridors. These fragments offered new insights into the final moments of the Third Reich's top figures. Today, most of the space remains sealed. A discrete plaque marks the approximate location, but no grand monument exists. As one of the strangest remnants of the conflict, it continues to captivate researchers exploring World War II's final chapter. 14. Ireland's neutrality signs. During World War II, Ireland declared neutrality, but that stance didn't guarantee safety from misdirected bombs or overflying aircraft. To broadcast its neutral position, the Irish government devised a plan: massive stone letter markers spelling out "air," the Irish word for Ireland, placed along coastlines. Each set of letters measured up to 40 feet across, whitewashed for maximum visibility so pilots scanning the terrain would realize they were over neutral territory. In 2018, after wildfires scorched sections of Wicklow County, One of these vintage signs was revealed again. Dense undergrowth had hidden it for years, but aerial surveys by emergency teams spotted the faint letters etched into a hillside. Researchers confirmed it was number 8 in a series of lookout posts once manned continuously, watchful for any incursion. These giant messages proved effective, assisting Allied and Axis pilots alike in identifying Irish airspace. While some signs were removed or faded into the landscape after the war, many still remain, discovered periodically by hikers or during land surveys. They stand among the overlooked yet amazing discoveries linked to World War II, each sign testifying to a small nation's attempts to shield itself from the storm raging around it. 13. U-boat wrecks of the Atlantic. German U-boats represented a major threat to Allied shipping throughout World War II, prowling vast stretches of the Atlantic to sink merchant convoys. Operating in wolf packs or alone, these submarines carried deadly torpedoes and had orders to cripple the flow of resources bound for Europe's war effort. Allied navies responded with improved sonar, radar, and aerial patrols, but the cat-and-mouse struggle raged on until the war's close. Many U-boats themselves fell victim to depth charges, bombing runs, or mechanical failures, sending them to the bottom of the sea. For decades, these submerged tombs remained out of sight. However, modern expeditions have located numerous wrecks, each offering a sobering view of the dangers these submariners faced. One example is U-576, sunk off the U.S. East Coast in 1942. Rediscovered in 2016, it sits upright, its deck guns still pointed defiantly forward. Archaeologists now use remote-operated vehicles to map these sites, capturing haunting footage of twisted metal hulls. Artifacts retrieved from inside, including crew gear and logbooks, shed light on life aboard these cramped craft. The systematic search for U-boat wrecks ranks among the most amazing discoveries of World War II archaeology, bridging historical records with the silent, tangible remains on the ocean floor. 12. Spy pigeon in the chimney. One day, a homeowner in Surrey, England, opened an old fireplace for renovation and found an unexpected guest, a mummified pigeon. More astonishing was the red canister still attached to its tiny leg, containing a coded message likely destined for British intelligence. During World War II, thousands of carrier pigeons undertook missions to transport crucial information across enemy lines. Their speed and reliability often succeeded where radio signals could be intercepted. Historians believe this particular bird was part of the Special Operations Executive, tasked with relaying top-secret data from occupied Europe. Unfortunately, it appears the pigeon flew down the chimney, became overwhelmed by fumes, and never completed its mission. The decades-old message, written on delicate paper, was eventually delivered to code specialists at Bletchley Park, the center famous for deciphering German communications. While the contents of this cryptic note remain uncracked, experts continue to study it in hopes of unraveling any hidden clues. The pigeon's final resting place underscores how animals also took part in warfare, risking their lives. This quiet, dusty discovery stands out as one of the more unusual but amazing discoveries to emerge from World War II's extensive intelligence operations. 11. The tragic USS Indianapolis. In July 1945, the USS Indianapolis completed a top-secret mission, delivering components of the atomic bomb that would be dropped on Hiroshima. Shortly after, this Portland-class cruiser sailed from Guam en route to the Philippines, unescorted and vulnerable. On July 30, a Japanese submarine struck it with torpedoes in a devastating attack. The Indianapolis sank in just 12 minutes, taking about 300 crew down with it. The remaining 900 floated in shark-infested waters for 4 harrowing days. Due to communication oversights, rescue operations were delayed. Dehydration, saltwater poisoning, and shark attacks claimed hundreds of lives. When help finally arrived, only 316 sailors survived. It was deemed the deadliest single sinking in U.S. naval history. The shock reverberated through an American public that had expected victory at sea, not such a catastrophic loss so late in the war. For years, the exact resting place of the Indianapolis remained unknown, adding to its mystique. Then, in 2017, A research team led by entrepreneur Paul Allen located the wreckage 18,000 feet below the surface in the Philippine Sea. Photos showed the hull, battered but recognizable, offering fresh insights into this heartbreaking event. Discovering the final home of the Indianapolis truly counts among the most amazing finds of World War II naval history. 10. The Lake Michigan Dauntless. The Douglas SBD Dauntless was a pivotal dive bomber for the U.S. Navy in World War II, renowned for its ability to unleash pinpoint attacks on enemy vessels. Often launched from aircraft carriers, it excelled in major naval battles like Midway, dealing critical blows to Japanese ships. Yet some Dauntless planes never reached overseas combat. They ended up at the bottom of Lake Michigan, where the Navy ran carrier training exercises close to home. During the 1940s, pilots took off from makeshift carriers converted from steamers on the lake, practicing takeoffs and landings. Mishaps were frequent. Aircraft sometimes skidded off the deck or struggled to regain altitude, plunging below the waves. For decades, these sunken aircraft lay in the depths, their whereabouts mapped mostly by local divers and historians. Recent salvage operations have retrieved multiple Dauntless wrecks. One, raised from 100 feet down, emerged remarkably intact, though encrusted with zebra mussels. Restoration experts at naval museums are painstakingly cleaning and repairing each piece, returning these warbirds to something resembling their former glory. Every retrieval is more than just a technical achievement. It's also an evocative link to the training missions that helped shape the Navy's aerial capabilities in World War II. 9. Operation Bernhard's Counterfeit Millions. In the waning years of World War II, Nazi Germany launched a secret plan to undermine the British economy by flooding it with fake banknotes. Known as Operation Bernhard, this operation employed skilled forgers, many of them imprisoned in concentration camps, to produce astonishingly accurate British pound notes. Allegedly, over £130 million in counterfeit currency rolled off the presses, an impressive sum that could have sparked financial chaos had it been fully circulated. As the Allies advanced, SS officers faced a dilemma: hide or destroy the evidence. Huge amounts of these forged notes were dumped into Austrian lakes such as Toplitz, submerged in crates meant never to be found. However, some currency eventually resurfaced, spurring intense investigations. In the decades that followed, divers searching for sunken treasures occasionally recovered waterlogged bundles of fake notes, confirming the scale of the ambitious plot. Remarkably, the craftsmanship of the counterfeit bills was so high that experts found them difficult to distinguish from genuine currency. Today, Operation Bernhard stands as one of the most brazen attempts at economic warfare in modern history, and one of the amazing discoveries that keeps fueling legends of hidden Nazi loot. Each recovered note offers a physical trace of an audacious plan that nearly succeeded. 8. The Bronze Eagle of the Graf Spee. In 1939, the Admiral Graf Spee, a German warship, became a focal point of the war's earliest naval confrontations. Under heavy British pursuit near the Rio de la Plata, Captain Hans Langsdorff chose to scuttle the vessel rather than let it be captured. The Graf Spee's remains settled into the murky estuary off Uruguay's coast for decades. Then, in 2006, divers uncovered one of its most notable relics, a giant bronze eagle gripping a swastika in its talons. Standing over 6 feet tall, this imposing sculpture once adorned the ship's stern, symbolizing the Reich's power. Raising the artifact was no simple task, involving a specialized team who battled strong currents and poor visibility. Once retrieved, the eagle sparked immediate controversy. Debates flared over whether it should be displayed, destroyed, or transformed. Eventually, legal battles determined it would be melted and recast into a representation of peace. The Bronze Eagle's discovery, and the subsequent decision to reshape it, highlights the complicated moral questions that arise when relics of oppressive regimes resurface. Alongside the numerous remains of warships and planes, it further enriches the catalog of amazing discoveries from World War II, reminding us that the past can literally resurface to challenge our present perspectives. 7. The USS Yorktown. Among the U.S. Navy's most storied carriers, the USS Yorktown fought valiantly in some of World War II's pivotal Pacific clashes. After enduring damage at the Battle of the Coral Sea in May 1942, the ship was hastily repaired and rushed back into action for the Battle of Midway just weeks later. During that confrontation, American dive bombers devastated the Imperial Japanese Navy, but Yorktown itself sustained multiple torpedo hits from Japanese aircraft and submarines. On June 7, 1942, listing heavily, the carrier finally succumbed, slipping beneath the waves. While its loss was a blow, the larger U.S. victory at Midway shifted the war's tide in the Pacific. For decades, the wreck's position remained uncertain, fueling speculation and exploration efforts. In 1998, famed explorer Dr. Robert Ballard led a team that located the Yorktown nearly 3 miles below the surface. Remarkably, segments of the hull, flight deck, and anti-aircraft guns appeared intact in high-resolution images. Personal items, mugs, cutlery, and airplane parts still littered compartments. The Yorktown's final resting place has become an underwater museum of sorts, capturing a moment of transformation in naval warfare. 6. The Ghost Army. World War II produced many specialized units, but few were as unconventional as the Ghost Army. Officially the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, they were an ensemble of artists, engineers, and sound technicians tasked with conducting elaborate hoaxes on the Western Front. Instead of real tanks, they used inflatable replicas. Instead of artillery shells, they blasted recorded battle noises. Their goal? To fool German forces about troop strength and positioning. Operating close to the front lines, these creative tricksters would deploy their decoys at night. Canvas mock-ups of tanks and jeeps appeared realistic from the air, while carefully scripted radio traffic mimicked actual units. The Ghost Army sometimes moved into areas right after Allied forces left, projecting the illusion that a large force had remained. They even disguised themselves in uniforms belonging to different divisions to sell the ruse. By many accounts, these deceptions saved countless Allied lives, diverting enemy attention away from genuine offensives. After the war, the unit's records remained classified for decades, preventing recognition of their achievements. In recent years, the Ghost Army's exploits have come to light, securing their place among the most amazing discoveries of clandestine World War II operations, a story where creativity literally became a weapon. 5. Katyn's mass graves. During the spring of 1940, thousands of Polish officers, intellectuals, and community leaders vanished under Soviet custody. Their fate became a grisly reality in 1943 when German forces uncovered mass burial sites in the Katyn forest near Smolensk. Over 20,000 bodies were eventually exhumed, each bearing gunshot wounds. Though Nazi propaganda exploited the discovery to discredit the Soviets, the atrocity's true scope emerged slowly, suppressed behind political agendas and shifting alliances. After the war, the Soviet Union denied involvement, blaming the massacres on Nazi Germany. Only decades later, as Soviet documents were declassified, did the truth become undeniable. It was the NKVD, Stalin's secret police, who executed these prisoners of war. For Poland, this revelation was a brutal blow, amplifying the tragedy of national leaders lost in a calculated purge. Further excavations and document reviews in the late 20th century helped identify many of the victims, offering some solace to descendants who had long sought closure. Katyn stands as a stark historical crime, brought to wider attention by an unexpected discovery in wartime. Each shallow trench, filled with men once holding vital roles in Polish society, underscores just how far-reaching and devastating the shadows of World War II could be. 4. The silver treasure of the SS Gersapa. In 1941, the British cargo steamship SS Gersapa set sail carrying tea, iron, and a secret hoard of silver. As it journeyed from India to Britain, a German U-boat torpedoed the vessel off the coast of Ireland. The Gersapa sank quickly, plunging its precious cargo into frigid depths, some 3 miles below the surface. For decades, the exact location and contents remained obscure. In 2011, an American marine exploration company employed high-tech submersibles to locate the wreck. Their cameras captured a remarkable scene, scattered ingots of silver glinting amid corroded steel and sea life. Eventually, Divers recovered over 1,100 bars, totaling around 48 tons, an enormous sum valued in the tens of millions. This became one of the deepest and largest precious metal salvage operations in history. Remarkably, much of the silver remained in good condition despite decades underwater. The haul underscored how even civilian cargo ships often carried strategic materials vital to the war effort. The discovery was a financial windfall for the salvors, but also a moment that highlighted the many unknowns lying on the ocean floor. This astonishing stash joins the ranks of amazing discoveries tied to World War II, merging maritime tragedy with glittering fortune. 3. Jerusalem of the North. Before World War II, Vilnius, often called the Jerusalem of the North, was a vibrant hub of Jewish learning and culture. When Nazi forces occupied Lithuania, many synagogues and libraries were destroyed or converted, and countless religious artifacts vanished. Yet beneath the rubble of the Great Synagogue of Vilna, brave individuals concealed precious manuscripts, Torah scrolls, and ritual objects, hoping someday they might be rescued. Decades later, archaeological teams began carefully excavating the synagogue's remains. Among the crumbling foundations, they unearthed a hidden cellar. Inside were battered but still recognizable items of deep cultural significance: religious texts, prayer shawls, and ornate ceremonial pieces. Historians confirm these discoveries match stories passed down by survivors about secret caches meant to protect communal treasures. Each artifact offers a window into a community's profound spiritual heritage. Meticulous restoration work aims to stabilize fragile parchments and cloth before they can be studied or displayed. So far, these finds stand out as one of the most meaningful and amazing discoveries linked to World War II, revealing how people fought to preserve identity in the face of annihilation. The project continues today, with historians and restorers hopeful they can recover even more pieces of this lost world. 2. The sunken German truck. When local rumors described an old vehicle submerged in a river for decades, few believed it might date back to World War II. Yet investigative divers pressed on, guided by accounts of a German military truck that reportedly disappeared near the conflict's end. The water level in the region had receded over time, making the vehicle's outline faintly visible during especially dry summers. Eventually, a salvage team pinpointed the exact location and lifted the battered truck onto the riverbank. Amazingly, much of its chassis and even its original license plate remained intact. Researchers confirmed it had been repurposed by German forces for transporting munitions and small arms. It appears the retreating troops abandoned it to the current, rather than let it be seized. This recovered relic showcases a unique slice of wartime logistics, smaller than a tank or plane, yet just as significant in sustaining a fighting force. Local authorities swiftly secured the site, eager to prevent scavengers from looting the find. Conservation efforts aim to stabilize the corroded metal and restore parts of the truck for public display. As our final entry, this submerged time capsule exemplifies how amazing discoveries can emerge when the echoes of World War II intersect with curiosity and persistence. 1. Churchill's Covert Bunker Network. Amid the turmoil of World War II, Winston Churchill authorized a clandestine army of volunteers known as the Auxiliary Units. These were not typical soldiers. They were local residents trained in sabotage, reconnaissance, and guerrilla tactics, ready to strike from concealed bases if the Germans ever set foot on British soil. Over 500 underground hideouts, often referred to as operational bases, were constructed across Britain. Formed in absolute secrecy, these teams were poised to unleash chaos should an invasion occur. Many of these bunkers were built in woodlands or remote farmland, with entrances hidden beneath false floors or camouflage doors. Their existence was guarded under strict security measures, and many who helped design or maintain them took their secrets to the grave. Fortunately, an invasion never happened. After the war, the bunkers were sealed or simply left to decay, merging back into the countryside. Decades later, as new construction and environmental projects disturbed the soil, people continue to stumble upon these forgotten complexes. In 2020, a forestry crew in Scotland